So Bernie Sanders has been hitting, or Bernie Sanders' campaign as well, seems more to be his campaign than him himself, to be honest. But his team has been hitting Joe Biden, resurfacing clips from his very lengthy career in government back when he was a senator, when he was vice president, when he was a presidential candidate, all of these different times in which he has basically said, I've been pushing freezing Social Security. I've been for putting it on the table in terms of we need to lower the deficit and we need to put all the entitlements on the table to cut. That includes Social Security and Medicare. So he has finally responded, and he actually claims that the Bernie campaign is pushing a doctored video, and not only that they're pushing a doctored video, but that it's beneath the Bernie Sanders campaign to do this. So I'm going to show this to you guys. We're going to come back and talk about this.
There's been, I've had phone calls, people asking me, what do you take about? Does it concern you? What do you take about Joe's stance about what's going to happen to Social Security? So I'm going to ask you, what is your stance on Social Security?
Well, my stance on Social Security is, let's get the record straight. I'm not going to blame anybody, but, well, let me just say the facts. There's a little doctored video going around saying that, put out by one of Bernie's people. No, I'm serious. And I don't know if my staff has that video here, but saying that I agreed with Paul Ryan, the former vice presidential candidate, about wanting to privatize Social Security. It is, and PolitiFacts looked at it, and they doctored the photo, they doctored the piece, and it's acknowledged that it's a fake. And so what we're doing is we're putting out what the actual exchange between Paul Ryan and I were, and I have been a gigantic supporter of Social Security from the beginning, and I have a detailed plan as what to do with Social Security to make sure that the good news is people are living longer. The bad news is they're running out of the coverage their Social Security can cover. And so what I do is I make sure that we expand Social Security coverage in the following way. Right now, you pay a percentage of your salary up to, I think it's now up to $131,000. After that, everybody pays the same percentage of salary no matter how much they make. So what I'm proposing, and we'll get it done, is that everybody making over $400,000 will have to say the same percentage you pay if you're making $60,000. 6.5%, you pay 6.5% of your salary at $400,000 or $800,000 or $1 million or $20 million. And what that will do is no punishment, just pay the same percentage as everybody else is paying. You'll end up being able to do three things. One, increase the payments for those seniors who are living the super elderly. They can have more money to be able to stay in their homes and be able to do what they have to do and live the way they want to live. Secondly, there's a lot of people, and maybe you know your grandmoms and grandpops, who when one dies, the Social Security of the other drops. We'll be able to equalize that back so it doesn't drop. And thirdly, and equally as importantly, that would make Social Security solvent for all of you. So it's around when you're able to retire, because that's how much money it would raise. But it is simply a lie, that video that's going around. And ask anybody in the press, it's a flat lie. They've acknowledged that this is a doctored tape, and I think it's beneath, and I'm looking for his campaign to come forward and disown it, but they haven't done it yet. Thank you.
So this is very interesting because I'm not even particularly sure which one he's claiming is doctored, because there's not just one clip or one instance of Joe Biden advocating for cuts to Social Security. This guy has done it on multiple occasions. So let's just play through some of these.
We have a deficit. We have Social Security and Medicare looming. The number of people on Social Security and Medicare is now 40 million people. It's going to be 80 million in 15 years. Would you consider looking at those programs, age of eligibility,
Absolutely.
cost of living, put it all on the table?
The answer is absolutely. You have to. I mean, it's one of the things that my, the political advisors say to me is, "Whoa, don't touch that third." Look, the American people aren't stupid. It's a real simple proposition. We have to do. You and I were talking about Bob Dole earlier. I was one of 5 people, I was the junior guy, in the meeting with Bob Dole, George Mitchell, when we put Social Security in the right path for 60 years. I'll never forget what Bob Dole said. After we reached an agreement about gradually raising the retirement age, etc., he said, look, here's the deal. We all put our foot in the boat one at a time. And he stepped like he was stepping into a boat. And we all make the following deal. If any one of the challengers running against incumbent Democrat or Republicans attacks us on this point, we'll all stay together. That's the kind of leadership that is needed. Social Security is not the hard one to solve. Medicare, that is the gorilla in the room. And you've got to put all of it on the table.
Everything.
Everything. You've got.
So this is one of many times in which essentially the issue that they're proposing is there's a deficit, and we need to bring cuts to Social Security, need to bring cuts to Medicare, etc., etc. This is just one of them, and I believe this is when he's a presidential candidate. I don't know what year this is. Oh, it's 2008, it looks to be. But that's just one of them, though. That's not like the only one. There's a couple more. Here's actually another one that you may not have seen.
The balanced budget amendment of 1984. It got nowhere. I'm one of those Democrats who voted for the constitutional amendment to balance the budget. I have introduced on 4 occasions, entire plans to balance the budget, knowing I'm not president and I'm not the leader, but for illustrative purposes. I tried with Senator Grassley back in the 80s to freeze all government spending, including Social Security, including everything.
So, I mean, the guy's literally on video he's literally on video bragging about attempts to cut Social Security multiple times. There isn't just one, there isn't just 2, there's multiple of these videos where he's not only advocating for it, the man is bragging about it. He just told you right there, he tried 4 times to freeze all government spending, including Social Security, and trying to lower the deficit, essentially. What that would mean is you'd have to put cuts to Social Security in his mind. So that's the context of the conversation, and that's not the only one either. Here's another one. Let's check this one out.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a 3rd time, and I tried it a 4th time.
So again, these are the 3 ones that I just pulled up really quick. There may even be a couple more. The other one, maybe he's speaking to the Brookings Institute, but it's very clear that he has been on record about cutting Social Security for purposes of lowering the deficit. So the idea that this is something that's doctored or that it's edited or any of this other nonsense that is being played into this whole thing pushed by the Joe Biden campaign, all we're doing is compiling video after video after video of you, Joe Biden, on video, okay? Bragging about trying to freeze Social Security, trying to cut Social Security to meet the deficit. So, what you've got to understand, in the other one, he was talking about how Medicare is the big gorilla, which means, Medicare is really the one where we really got to cut down, So, put on top of cutting Social Security, you're also talking about cutting, Medicare in there as well. So you can throw that in there, but this is really crucial for the Bernie Sanders campaign. And I hope that he really continues to really hammer away on this, because as you guys know, boomers are massively in the tank for Joe Biden. They're over a super majority of boomers support Joe Biden. There's like 5 or 10% that support Bernie or something, hilariously tiny like that. And so the biggest thing for boomers, obviously, is their Social Security, right? So if Bernie Sanders is out there saying, hey, this guy's going to cut your Social Security and I'm going to expand your Social Security, who do you think they're going to vote for? He also needs to do the same for Medicare. He needs to explain how Medicare is going to be expanded to cover so much more than it already covers now, like dental and vision and long-term care. Bernie's got to do a couple of things, okay? He's got to do a couple of things that need to go into full high gear drive mode, okay? Those 2 things that Bernie needs to do is he needs to have a massive outreach program for older African Americans, and he also needs to have a massive outreach program for older folk, the boomers, the Gen Xers, okay? And the best way to do that are the 2 ways that I just mentioned for you. Social Security expansion and Medicare expansion and improvement. So if you tell them, we're going to improve your health care, we're going to expand your Social Security, well, they're gonna vote for you and support you over Joe Biden. And you tell them, hey, look, this guy wants to cut your Social Security. Who do you think they're gonna pick? They're gonna pick Bernie. So if Bernie wants to win the election, he needs to do a serious drive for older African American voters, and he also needs to do a drive for all older voters. And I'm glad that he was asked this question, because it means that the criticism coming from the Bernie camp is resonating with people. That's why it's a good sign that person asked, because it means, oh smokes, people are actually they know about Joe Biden and his shifty past and history with Social Security. So that's a very good sign. But no, this is not some sort of doctored video. It's just video compilations of you back in the day talking about cutting Social Security. So, as recent as 2008. So, there's no real doctoring going on here.